Hello and welcome, my Sagittarian collective sun, moon, rising sign. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read for October and November 2020. I am your reader, Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, professional-ish, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, friend to many a Sagittarian, the Archangel of Lyons, Angelo Lyons, but you can just call me Mal. Hey, hey, hey. Hope you are all doing well. My subscribers, thank you so much for returning for your Sagittarian ass reads. Your love, your support, your subscriptions, your likes, your comments, all of that YouTube stuff has been very helpful. Building my number. Well, there's buzz going around with the YouTubers. There was a change in the algorithm again, and a lot of people's numbers dropped, but my subscription numbers are slowly but steady rising. So really, every time you click like, every time you comment, it just changes that number. Well, and with my videos for me, enjoying the Circle Production, so greatly appreciated. And if you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing and all that jazz, because though I'm not quite at 2,000 subscribers yet, I'm shooting for 30,000, right? What is it? Shoot for the stars, you might just hit the moon. I'm okay with that, but really trying to shoot for those stars, because at 30,000 subscribers, I can have the membership option, right? And there will be a join button there where I can do private content for members only. And I think that's particularly helpful for when I do the extended reads, because I can have them in the membership content where you would pay one amount a month, just like Patreon, right? Like it's everywhere. Everybody's doing that right now. But I also have them on VIMEO.com, and on Vimeo you pay as you go, pay-per-view, right? So more economical, I guess, in the long run. But also we can do like private member live chats and stuff, and that would just be a lot of fun because it would be almost completely uncensored. So you know me. If you don't know me, you will. So let's get down to business with this read, shall we? This is a 9-card spread that I do for myself. It's not always 9 cards. I use different decks because I am self-employed. I've been the president of DrawingTheCircle Productions since May 1998, all right? So knowing that there is a difference between work, career, and vocation, helpful, very, very helpful. Work is what you do for survival. It's the physical world, the lower 3 chakras, the literal world. This is a literal table, all right? The second, that's the first level of power, work. The second is the personal world, your career, right? Heart, throat, third eye, and crown. An emotional thirst, a mental hunger, your passion, what it is that you do. You can feel so many people are trying to build their career while using work to pay the bills. I mean, how many artists, right? That's the easiest example. There are billions of them, right? An artist, a singer, a painter, whatever, doing their career in the world within themselves as well, but paying the bills, doing other things, Uber Eats, right? DoorDash, whatever it takes in this time, obviously. It's why I'm doing these. And then vocation is your spiritual calling. It's the 8th chakra, right? You'll see as the cards hit the table, and I'll explain them as I go, but I got this from a lovely audiobook. It wasn't really an audiobook, it was a lecture by Carolyn Mace, MYSS. These are her archetype cards, called 3 Levels of Power. If you can catch it, catch it. I wouldn't even know where to find it now. It was on iTunes back in, my God, what was that, the early 2000s, right? When iPods first incarnated. So the physical world, the mental emotional world, the spiritual world. If you want to look at that, work, career, vocation, all 3 of them are really one thing. Like the pinky, the middle finger, and the thumb, they're all different. They all have different functions, but they're all part of the same hand. You get the vibe, right? So this is a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Check your other signs. I will get you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can. Remember to breathe. Stay in the present moment, my Sagittarians. I have so many Sagittarian friends, and I hope this serves them in all of this too. Otherwise, I think that's it. Let's get into this gig. Take a nice deep breath. The other 2 decks that I read, the Daughters of the Moon Tarot and the Mythic Tarot that I read for these readings, are all in the description box below with all the other ones that I'm reading. Disclaimers done. Giving credit where credit is due. Let's get up in this gig. Take a nice deep breath. A lot of exposition for this breath right here. Oh, my collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need 3 cards for this Sagittarian collective sun, moon, rising signs in their work, career, vocation, October, November 2020, because it's career, it's work, career, vocation. It takes a little bit more time to unfold in personal relationship stuff. So please, my beloved Pantheons, 1 for their work, physical world, literal world, root, sacrum, solar plexus, their work, what they do to survive. Please, 1 for their career, their heart, their throat, their third eye, their crown, their emotional thirst and mental hunger, their passion, their psychological world, their interior world, their personal world. And 1, please, oh, and almost shot out, please, 1 for their vocation, the 8th chakra, their spiritual calling, what inspires them, what they came into this planet to do on a larger scale, even just for 2 months. The symbolic level of power, there we go. All right, remember, I say this every time, so this way nobody's too triggered, you're prepared. These cards can be very triggering. Not just the names of the archetypes, if you don't understand them, like you get the vampire archetype, well, some people would dig that, right? But like the victim archetype, which the gold side is the victor archetype. The lead and the gold here are to show you a thumbprint image, right? Or a thumbnail sketch, I should say, of what it is that you are alchemizing from lead to gold. Either you, like these are either your archetypes, the archetypes of somebody else that you're interacting with on a work, career, vocation level. In a situation, you can absolutely go through stories, archetypal stories in your work, career, vocation, just like in your personal relationships, just like the world is going through a story right now, right? A very archetypal one too. But it can be any combo of those or all of those. So here we go. I'll give you the best that I got. Breathe. Well, like I said, they really know how to preface it. At work, we've got the addict archetype. Now, this doesn't mean that you're an addict. It just means that you are dealing with the addict archetype, which is toxic as the shadow is as brilliant as the light, right? As deep and heavy metal as the lead is, it can be alchemized into golden wisdom. So this is the wild card family of archetypes. The shadow attribute compromises integrity and honesty, allowing an addictive pattern to have authority over you, over your inner spirit, right? So when you're here, it says, we can't do that. No, don't do that. And you do it anyway, right? When your honor code is screaming in your solar plexus, right? Particularly physical world. No, don't do it. But the external, regardless of its form, it could be workaholism, right? So it's an addiction, right? Everybody goes immediately to drugs and alcohol, and I get that, right? There's no non-lethal addiction in a sense of what it destroys and kills in your life, right? It may not be your physical body, but your finances, right? Your relationships. So that compromising of honesty and integrity, that's a tricky one, right? Particularly at work, right? You stealing shit? What for? Like, why? Addictions aren't so much the what, it's the why. Thank you, Carolyn Mace. The light attribute helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. And I think if you've dealt with, this is how I can feel that for a lot of you, this isn't you, but it's a story that you're in, that you may be dealing with some form of addiction at work, probably not your own. Now, I'm not just trying to sugarcoat that and be like, oh, everybody has their addictions. And you may find what yours are, but remember, they are subtle. Like, what if you're addicted to food? I'm addicted to coffee. Are you kidding me? How would I get through a day, right? That is a physical addiction. If I give that up, I go through detox. It's a nightmare. If you've ever had to give up caffeine, oh my God, never again, the detox of caffeine times, right? And so I'm aware of that, right? That's why I limit my amount a day depending on how much work I got to do. But what if you're addicted to a particular emotion? So when you don't feel it, you do everything you can to get back to that emotion, right? Instead of being where you are and loving what's going on. So this might very well be confronting an addictive pattern, maybe in the industry you're in, right? Why wouldn't they be an addictive? But why wouldn't companies, corporations, businesses have addictive patterns just like people? Okay, this is some tricky shit we got going on here. Here's another one, incredibly triggering word. Like, it's so funny how they prefaced it really with the name of the archetype, not just the lead and the shadow. For career, you've got the slave archetype. Now, that's rough. However, oh my God, the bright side of this, the light side of this, let me read it. Then I'll give you some examples. The shadow attribute Giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices, right? So this is about willpower, very throat chakra. And so here we go, right? Solar plexus, second chakra, very addictive patterns can be in those chakras. I mean, all of them, but the physical, literal ones there. Here we're talking third chakra in the personal level of power, right? Your career and your vocation. So giving your willpower away, no, you do it, whatever. Out of fear of making your own choices. Now, that doesn't mean that surrender is wrong. We'll get to that. That's the light part of it. But it is saying, I'm terrified of making my choices in my career. Like, I'm terrified of doing the thing that I love and following my passion. So I'm just going to go ahead. You make the choices, whatever you want me to do horizontally. Catch this, the light attribute. Surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. That's surrender, if you like, vertically. Right? We're talking Jesus. We're talking Moses. We're talking Abraham, not necessarily of Abraham Hicks, but Abraham of the Old Testament. We're talking Gandhi. We're talking, I mean, really, I mean, I'm giving you males because the Buddha. So, I mean, no one would sit under a Bodhi tree for 40 years unless they had surrendered their will to the divine, right? So incredibly powerful card. Now, what I find interesting as well is the slave archetype is also wild card family. So even with such a high, I mean, because people could be slaves to corporations, right? Slaves to their career. But the alchemy here, I will say, is simple but not easy. It's essentially thy will be done. And the process I have found, because I don't have the slave archetype, it may come and go from my life, particularly in my personal relationships. That thing, I don't know, God, take the wheel, Goddess, drive this thing. But in terms of my career, I'm a servant, not a slave. In archetypally, servant has choice, slave doesn't. So it's a very powerful word in these times. So to really look for that archetype, again, within yourself or within another person in your career or within a situation or all of that, right? Fascinating read. Well, okay, you've got a wisdom family archetype. This makes sense. In your vocation, the card of the student. Now, the student came up with Libra. I'm not seeing it anywhere else here. Let me just show, because I write them down. They're in the titles. Obviously, you're watching this. You read the title. And I know that might turn people off. They see addict, slave, and student. But my good God, if you get that these might not be you, and even if they are, in a way, good that they are, so that you're getting the opportunity to actually alchemize and heal through your work, career, and vocation. And as you heal through the unity consciousness, quantum entanglement, you're helping us all heal, right? So the student archetype, the shadow side of it, and remember, this is 8th chakra stuff, arrogance in the pursuit of destructive knowledge. Oh, I think we see that going on planet Earth, right? Unwillingness to translate knowledge into action. And really, in terms of a calling, I see it all the time. Yeah, I'm going to give an example because, you know, I was a high priest and a minister for a really fucking long time. So, you know, you see people coming back with the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you understand that everybody has a road. Every day is a winding road. We got a little bit closer. My totem is a crow. Cheryl Crow. I love her. I always will. But like, for instance, the 4 agreements, right? Oh, yeah, I read it. I read the 4 agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz. Oh, it's wonderful. Oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. But are you doing the 4th agreement? The 1st agreement, if you're unfamiliar, right? Be impeccable with your word. Fuck that. Don't take anything personally. Make no assumptions and do your best. Well, it's that 4th one. It's like you can know that knowledge. Oh, the 4 agreements, Toltec wisdom. But are you putting it into action? Knowledge without action is just knowledge. Knowledge plus experience, action equals wisdom, right? So the light attribute, humility and devotion to knowledge. Like, if you spiritually just be like, I know that I don't know, the grace of humility, my gods, please grant me the grace of humility, the maiden grace, that I know that I do not know, but I'm willing to be shown the truth and I'm willing to see things clearly no matter the outcome. That's a good one. That's partially Matt Kahn in there. Openness to lifelong learning. So really, this is all about spiritual surrender, right? You got you're learning your vocation. is as a student. Great, lifelong learning, interaction with the divine, rock and roll, right? Well, I'm a mystic, I would say that. And your career right now is really about surrendering it, right? So hand it up to the God. You show me, thy will be done, for the highest good and harming none, as I will, so let it be done. Pick your language, right? But in order to really help you confront what your attachments are, other people's unhealthy attachments are. Now, granted, there's a difference between an unhealthy attachment and an addiction, but not by much. And remember, there's also codependency, right? So maybe in the workplace or something, there's an addictive pattern in there that needs to be addressed. I don't know. I think we're off to a really good start, but I could see people saying addict, slave, and student. I ain't watching that. And if they're really going, that means they need to see it. You know, people say take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you get a gut punch, that's a resonation. When something resonates, it doesn't mean you like it necessarily, is what I'm saying. It's like if watch what your body does to mean that. Like yesterday, I got this intuitive kick in the gut. I was like, oh, I think I knew what situation was about. But it was like my second chakra was just like, a storm's a-coming. I was like, okay. I made a phone call. And she's probably watching this. Of course I have my confidants. Let's rock and roll. Daughters of the Moon Tarot. What's going inside of you with all of this? And this will certainly clarify, you know, this addict, this slave, and this student in a way of how you're experiencing it on the inside. Breathe. If it's yours, if it resonates. My goddesses of Sagittarius, my goddesses of fire, please. I need 3 cards in clarity for this Sagittarius collective sun, moon, rising sign in their work, career, and vocation. October and November 2020, please, for the Sagittarian dealing with the addict archetype in their work. For the Sagittarian dealing with the slave archetype in their career. And for the Sagittarian dealing with the student archetype in their vocation. Sometimes the cards just zip out. And I think because the vibe is so, I mean, you don't understand. The slave archetype sounds horrible, but my God, you're in such amazing company, right? You're in amazing company there, right? Very liturgical, very scriptural. So you've got the addict archetype, the physical world, now with the witch. No, so I think if you're going to get that, have this here, because it is saying internally there is alignment here that this might not be you, in the sense saying that you're the one who's really, oh my God, don't make me say those words, holding the beam. Oh, it's so Solara 1111. Flashback, I used to work for her. Flashback. She made me wear white pants after Labor Day. That's employer abuse, in my opinion. But of course, I would say that I'm Leo rising. So this witch archetype, it's the magician. It's about bringing something into form. Now, if you're bringing this major arcana, it's the first card of the major arcana. Everybody thinks the fool is the 0. It has no number. It's between the world and the magician. So this is a real initiation, something really coming into play here, manifesting 8th, right? And so we will look at this certainly in the chakra breakdown. 8th, right? Crown, 3rd eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacrum, hits that root chakra, the Earth's electromagnetic field, and it's manifesting, right? You're taking spirit and adding time and space to it, chakra by chakra, so it manifests. So of course, knowing what the addictive patterns are, not just knowing them, but doing something about it, right? To know what that is, because something could be draining that energy off. Now that has to happen for a certain point of the process so that you can learn something, particularly about, and I say this all the time in all different levels, not just witchcraft, right? People get addicted to the high of manifesting, and then when it doesn't show up, they go into withdrawal. We must be doing it wrong. No. The things you are truly meant to do here, you will do if you play along, right? And you're not alone, and it's not all up to us what manifests, right? It's why it's called co-creation, not instant manifestation, because honey, if I had instant manifestation, I'd have been dead about 20 years ago. Oh, lovely. For your career, you've got the slave archetype, but you're dealing with the Empress, Mawu, inside yourself. So there is something very motherly here, right? This is of the maiden mother and crone. This is the mother in this deck, and we know the Empress. It's fertility, right? It's that the cornucopia that never empties. It's and next to the witch, that's so powerful. You got two major arcana cards here. The Magician, if you like, and the Empress, the Witch, and Mawu. So with that slave, this might very well be surrendering in a heart chakra way to the divine feminine, the goddess, right? Maybe you're a mother archetype in there too somehow, right? Feeding people. But then we're really looking at a gestative creative process. One, that you are to be, as a Sagittarian friend of mine says, may I be the hollow bone through which, you know, the prayer through the energy comes there. And Sagittarius, she's probably watching this, right? So, I mean, this is a real surrender to your interior wealth, your interior abundance. You have everything you need on the inside, at least. It's a horrible way to say it. In the sense of the divine feminine, the internal wealth, the knowledge, the wisdom, the love, the power, right? Oh, so so understand whatever's going on here in the 8th chakra, it's coming down through your surrender of will, however that plays out, surrender of will to the divine, the slave archetype. But so that this creativity, this gestation process, right, is already underway, and you're trying to get it into the root chakra here. Let's keep going. You've got the student archetype, which I just think is the key to this whole read. If you can really have that humility and that openness to lifelong learning, 3rd major arcana card, my friends, you got the Wheel of Fortune, the Spider Woman, not just about creativity, about divine timing. This is a matter of timing. Are you in alignment with divine timing or not? Well, I'm going to tell you, divine timing is happening whether you're in alignment with it or not. But couldn't that be what this is about? Like I haven't been pregnant in this life, but please, I have been a woman more times than a man on this planet. I've been to the Akashic Records. They showed me a percentage split, not the actual number, and it's more than 50%. I've been female more than male, so of course I've had babies. Not in this life, right? I'm sure that when women are pregnant around, I don't know, maybe this may vary, right? Around the 6 months, it's just, can we get this over with, right? But you got to take it full term. There's a divine timing thing here. Creatively, it is gestating, but how much can you surrender your power of choice to the divine with complete trust? Well, that's something that the student is helping you with. If you can really get, all right, I'm going to learn about divine timing, right? Google it, right? All right, show me divine timing. Fate being alchemized into destiny, right? The things you cannot change, the threads of the web, how you traverse those threads, destiny. Very cool. 3 major arcana cards. I think this might be the first reading. I don't write these down, but where you got 3 major arcana cards right across the board. Don't quote me on that though. One more deck. Let's do the Mythic Tarot here. That's what's going on the inside, right? The soul power, the archetypes being developed here. You, someone else, both of you, a situation. The Daughters of the Moon, the interior world, right? That what's going on for you on the inside on these 3 levels of power, even though the personal level of power is that interior world. This feels really good. And you've got the Witch, the Mother, and in a way, the Crone here. Very interesting. Breathe. Yes, my gods of Sagittarius, Zeus in particular, who sits solo on the throne of Sagittarius for me, the youngest son of Cronus and Rhea, who became king. It's always the 3rd son. I'm the 3rd son in my family. Please, 1 card in clarity, because we're the youngest. 3 cards in clarity for the Sagittarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising Sign, in their work, career, vocation, October, November 2020, please, for their work. They've got the addict archetype in some way. I'm not saying they're an addict. Everybody's got them, but not saying that. But with the witch there is a stance of power on the inside. So please, what's going on the outside there in the yang, in the external for their career? They've got the slave archetype with the Empress. I mean, that feels so powerful. What's going on the outside there. And for their vocation, the student archetype, which the spiritual student, if they can put it into action, right? If they can have that humility, that lifelong, it's like, there's no end to this, and I love it, right? With the wheel of fortune, right? The wheel is moving, the threads are being spun, there's a change of destiny here, an opportunity to alchemize fate into destiny spiritually. So please, what's going on the outside there? In other words, what does this look like on the outside? I am excited, and I don't have a single planet in Sagittarius, come to think of it. Let's look. You've got the addict archetype, you yourself a situation with the witch inside, really coming into alignment to bring something like, it may be that all of the pieces are sort of lining up inside. What's going on the outside? 5 of Cups. So there is some emotional upset here. There is some disappointment. And with that addiction, it might be that you're not getting something that you want, but you believe that you need. Again, you, somebody else, whatever. And I'm not saying that there's an error there. I'm saying that that's part of the growing, the growth path, the learning curve in the world right now, right? That we're finding out very clearly the difference between what we need and what we want. Hello? I like hanging out with people. I've been in my house with my cats for months with, I mean, have I been around 10 people in the past? I mean, aside from like running into a shop, getting something and running out? No. So so that is not a need for me right now. It is a want. But with this card of addiction, man, if there's a detox process going on, you have to expect that the 5 of Cups is going to happen, right? 4 cups spilled, 1 cup standing. But I love this card. It's Eros and Psyche, the whole suit of cups, the minor arcana at least, Ace through 10 is the myth of Eros and Psyche. This is her discovering that he really is a god, and he made her promise to never, see his face. It's a long story. Drop of oil hits his thigh. He wakes up, flees for his life, so upset, but something is revealed here, right? So there's some emotional upset going on in that work there, the 5 of Cups, but it is necessary to get from the 5 to the 6, right? The 6 is that emotional balance. There's something here, an addiction that has to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. And remember, it may not be so very external in terms of drugs or alcohol, Like, I know people who are addicted to working out because of the endorphin high. I'm like, well, good luck to your knees on that. I hope you're getting the help you need as you go, right? For your career, again, we've got the slave archetype here with the Empress on the inner. On the outer, we've got the Fool. So this is something ready to begin. This is something, the outside, like you are ready to take the leap of faith here. And honestly, to do that, in other words, the divine is going to tell you, jump, leap of faith. But you're going to have to clean up some of that addiction stuff. And really, once I put this all together, this will make a big sense, because really, you see that light pouring into the witch's head? That's the 8th chakra. So I kind of feel like this is, in a way, very much, and it kind of is, a chakra reading, right? In terms of bringing things into alignment here. So you really align your addictions are about choice, right? The slave archetype. What are you a slave to? What are they a slave to, right? Surrender your will to the divine, the sacred truth of the 3rd chakra. Anatomy of the Spirit, Carolyn Mace, go read it. It's another life-changing book that she wrote, but it seems like all of the books that she writes changed my life. I love her for it. Just slightly intimidated by her. She's really good. She's so good. I love that, the card of the Fool, right? That jumping off in your career. Now, that's happening on the outside. You might be poised at the cliff, but a jump is being asked of you if you got the slave archetype. Stepping away from the unknown and jumping into stepping away from the known and jumping into the unknown. Such a powerful spiritual read for work, career, vocation. So remember, your vocation, you've got the calling, right? The calling of the student, right? It's lifelong learning. There's something about destiny, fate being alchemized out of destiny, some divine timing thing. The wheel is a turning. On the outside, you've got the Lovers. Can I just say, out of the tarot, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 tarot cards, major arcana here. This is a big deal. This is life-changing stuff, and this is the decision. Now, the Lover's card in this case probably is not about romance. It's about a decision, a life-changing decision, not just a choice, a decision. There's a difference. Today I am drinking coffee. That is my choice of beverage, my choice of beverage every morning. But consequence, choice, they're connected, right? I will, delicious and awake, right? I am moving to South America to grow my own beans, and we'll call it Malcoffee. Malcoffee. No, that's a life-changing decision. So here we have Paris, the Greek hero, not the city in France, or Texas. We have Hera, we have Aphrodite, and we have Athena there. Golden apple was hucked into the wedding of Harmonia and Cadmus from the goddess Eris, the goddess of discord, who do not get invited to the wedding, and she wrote on it, to the most beautiful goddess. Well, who was going to award that one when these three stepped up? Zeus was like, get Paris, fairest man on earth. No, not just fairest in terms of justice, he's really good looking too, right? Each one of them offered them everything that he wanted in terms of power, love, and wisdom. The threefold flame of the heart, Hera, Aphrodite, Athena. Give me that apple and I will give you all the power in the world. Give me that apple and I will give you all the wisdom in the world, because what good is power without wisdom? And give me that apple, says Aphrodite, and I will give you the most beautiful woman in the world as your true love. Well, he gave it to Aphrodite. It was Helena Troy, Trojan War. You never know the consequences of your decisions, right? You think, oh, let me choose love. Well, I feel like that was a devil's bargain. It doesn't matter how he did that. He would have been monkey pawed for sure. So monkey paw, hashtag monkey paw. This is huge. On the outside, there is a huge decision, but it is spiritual. Who's going to make that decision? As we go through, we put this together. So we're going to start in the 8th chakra, right? So you've got the student archetype with the Wheel of Fortune, things changing, destiny, fate stuff going on here, led into gold alchemy. But there is a life-changing decision that is being made, that is hovering over your head. And that would make sense with the slave archetype. Can you surrender your will to the divine in complete trust? Now, complete trust doesn't have to start day one. That is something that builds. It is a journey. The journey of surrender to the divine, but at least it's surrender to the divine, not to externals, right? It's vertical surrender, not horizontal surrender, right? So crown, right? Very crown, third eye, throat. This is the main one we're talking about, and the heart. Because something's gestating inside of you that you're being asked to take the risk, to start it, to jump off into the unknown. But with this addict going on here in the physical, right? So all that coming down, you say, all right, I will deal with this to the best of my ability, however long it takes. This isn't about rushing. This is about healing, right? So that you can really take the actions and do this manifestation in a way that resolves. It may knock over some cups. It absolutely might. It might upset people. I could see this saying, you know what? I've been doing this a very, very long time. I'm jumping in a new direction. My life is going to change. I'm empowering myself. I'm no longer dependent upon this or dependent upon that. I still have to pay my bills and all this stuff, but this is what I'm doing. And people being like, but what about if you have been carrying people? My guide said to me about 10 years ago, just whispered in my ear, if you carry those who can walk, their legs will wither. It's codependency, right? When people depend on you for things that they could be and perhaps should be, I don't like that word should, but perhaps it's time for them to do for themselves. Very, very interesting thing here that we have on this table. So may the Sagittarian collective, sun, moon, rising signs be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, and vocation. October, November 2020, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they may become the best that they can be, that they can balance this out, that they can take this lifelong work, this vocation of the student down into the power of surrender to the divine, being used as a channel of guidance and grace and manifestation and love and fertility with that Empress card, as they heal and clear and resolve addictions within themselves, within others, within the situation, dependencies, using the power of their will, their intention, their being, by surrendering to the divine will. May they be vehicles of that divine will, healing and resolving emotional upset and shakeups for their well-being, for the well-being of all, and really for everyone on planet Earth. So mote it be. And so it is. Granted, a very long blessing, but a very powerful one. Thank you so much for watching. This is incredibly helpful. And please do comment. Like, I want to know. like, I know some people use their real names here on YouTube, but you can certainly say, oh no, the addiction is totally this and it's not mine, or here, this is the thing I struggle with. You're only going to get compassion on my channel, and if somebody replies in an uncompassionate way, or I should say in an assholey way rather than a holy way, they're gone. So so please do, again, like, comment, subscribe, very, very helpful. And hit that notification bell, because I'm going to be live streaming tonight. By the time you see it, might be too late. But yeah, we're looking at a schedule of live streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening. We're working it out, me and my collaborators, right? So again, thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all the very best and the very blessed of your work, career, and vocation. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.